Hey, welcome back to a Turbo Talk. I'm Turbo. I'm sitting here at the homestead, out in the green room, in my chair, the day after the marathon. I just decided that I was just going to go ahead and throw out a Turbo's Marathons. This is number 22, the Beyond Monumental, up in Indianapolis. The preparation for it was, I told you already about it in another video, but it was going to rain, and the predictions was going to rain, and rain a lot, and then the winds came in, and there was wind advisory. I got picked up, and we drove up to Indy, had to make a few stops. That was kind of like a neat journey, a couple grocery store stops, a couple bathroom break stops. Then we went on up into the hotel, and we had valet parking. So we just pulled up, grabbed our suitcases, and walked inside, jumped on the elevator, and went to the room. Yeah, and we were about 2 blocks away from the expo, and about 2 to 4 blocks away from the start-finish line. That was really nice. Very nice. Race day morning, we wake up to the weather's still not really raining, and it's, so it never did really rain a lot. I mean, it rained, I think, right there just before the start and right at the start the most. As far as after the race went on, it didn't rain too much at all, really. I mean, we had a spell, and it's really hard to say, because when you're out there for 4 hours and 49 minutes, I tell you, it seems like time flies when you're having fun. Yeah, it took me 4 hours and 49 minutes. It ended up being an 11:04 pace. The good news is that I actually did accomplish my #1 goal, and that was to finish. That's how I got the time, right? Second goal is always going to be, did I walk or not? I did not. I ran the whole way. Then my third one is always, can you be steady state? Of course, you know what I believe. Steady state's kind of like a mastery, and so you got to start with progression, and I missed it. My 2 halves, I was a positive split, so to speak. My second half was 1 minute and 48 seconds slower than my first half. But when you graphed it out, it looked pretty nice. So the only difference was my first 5K was 11:12, and my last 5K was 11:08. And actually, that was a 6K. However, my average pace was 11:04. So there you go. Kind of neat. Nonetheless. So I found myself at the starting line. I was all baggied up. I had bags over my shoes to keep them dry. I had an extra pair of sweats on that I was going to throw away for the legs. And I had a sweatshirt on and a waterproof jacket. And then I had my big trash bags over my body. Had gloves. I didn't have to put the gloves on. It was 63 degrees when we went down there. It did drop 2 degrees, just like they said it would. You could feel that it dropped. And then in the first half of the race was pretty much with the wind at your back after you got around that first 5K. It was the third 5K is where we're running directly with the wind at our back. And then we didn't run with our wind at back again until after we hit about 30K. And then the wind was at our back again for probably another 5K. And then we ran into the wind for the rest of the way. And the wind was probably the most significant thing. The skies were gray, a little bit of moisture in the air, 60 degrees plus, and yeah, I stripped down very fast. And so before we even started the race, I had the baggies. It was raining when I took the baggies off, but when they started the race, for the first wave, or the wheelchair, when they started the wheelchair race, I took the baggies off my shoes, and I took my pants off down to my shorts. And I set them aside. I also took the long sleeve waterproof jacket off, and then I reestablished putting the baggie back over top of my sweatshirt. And I still was carrying the gloves. But nonetheless, by the time before I got to the mile marker, I think before we even started the race, yes, before I even started the race, I took the baggie off and tossed it aside. And then, but before we got a mile into the race, I was already removing some stuff. And so, when we got to the end of the first 5K, I was actually in my running shirt and running shorts for the day. However, I carried my sweatshirt and my gloves all the way to about mile 11 because I was afraid when we come back it might get cold, the wind, and I thought the rains were going to come. But by the time I got to mile 11, I decided I wasn't carrying them anymore, and I'm glad I threw them off. But then the whole time I had to deal with, you know, the pain that I was having from, you know, running a second marathon in 6 weeks and not really being healthy when I ran the first one. But then again, you know, how can you be healthy when you're trying to get to a place that you can't even get to? Right? I mean, so I'm not even supposed to run marathons, and here I am, I'm going to become a marathoner again. May not be the runner that I used to be, but under the new definition, I might be a runner again. But nonetheless, I finished it, and I just want to say, yeah, be your best. Goodbye.